Hello there, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Zeeebo's free-to-play Titan Reaver guide with my free-to-play VN account. So for those of you guys who are wondering why is this boss not on your screen, so at the point of release of this video, these bosses will not be available on the global side. It will be available tomorrow on the reset because this is currently on the VN server, which is ahead of the global server. So for these bosses right here, I will be talking about my own best teams as well as the different charms and the different tiers of my units, and then talk about some potential substitutes for free-to-play players in case you don't have certain units built up, or in case you have every unit at the lower tier and you want to find a more optimal team for yourself. So starting off with the very first team, the Necrodrakon team. So I released this best game mode for Sonya before, so if you guys have seen that video, you guys probably know my best teams already, but right here we're going to reiterate the point of the best team and why this is my best team. Okay, so first of all, this is a full physical team featuring Sonya with Supreme Plus 3-star, as well as the full charm set for skill damage, as well as the plus attack percentage. So she will be buffing up two of my strongest DPS in the form of Corinne as well as Merrily. So both of them are Supreme Plus, I think EX5. So right now they are not the strongest for the current meta of the Dream Realm side, so I'm keeping my yellow color stones to upgrade the future stronger units. So that's why they are my strongest light bearer carries, but they are not maxed out in terms of their EX weapon. They are not EX10, right? They're EX5 over here. So that's for the carries, so the 3 light bearers. And then we have the debuff from Kruger. My Kruger is currently at the mythic tier with Epic Plus charm set, and then Mikola right here at the legendary plus charm set here with Supreme Plus EX weapon 5 as well. So the artifact of choice, Great Sword spell, because this full team is physical by nature, so this will be proccing a lot, and this will do additional damage, provide the step buff as well as the debuff for your whole team to hit a little bit harder. So the only unit that will actually convert from physical to true damage is Merrily. So Merrily right here, once she reached the max stat, will deal true damage. So that is after she reached the 6 stats itself, so not so fast. So before that she will still be doing physical. And then for Corinne's case, Corinne will be dealing physical on top of the true damage enhancement from this buff over here. So technically Corinne's like 80% physical and okay, maybe 70% physical and then 30% true damage based off this skill over here. So without further ado, let us run through the second team as well. So for the second team, we are running a full magical team this time around, and we are sending Odie with Reina. So Odie will be standing on the front line. So the reason why we are sending Odie in the place of Coco is that this first unit will be harnessed by the boss. So this unit needs to stand on the front line to prevent the boss from using the slam ability right here. And at the same time, this very first unit getting harnessed by the boss will take damage, which will allow the unit to generate more energy, allowing Odie to start the ultimate combo faster. So that's why we are sending Odie in, and we're using the arcane spell over here. So without further ado, let's showcase the damage range for this team and how this team perform. So one thing to help you min-max your damage is to hopefully, if you're using this team right here, right, is to hopefully position your team, right, such that Merrily can benefit as much as possible from Mikola's buff. So I think my position right here is not the most optimal because my Merrily is still outside of Mikola's buff range, unfortunately. So that will be a little bit challenging because Merrily will be bouncing around. So that is if you're using Merrily, right? So between Merrily and Corinne and Sinbad, I think Merrily still does the most damage because she stacks up a lot of attack. And then before she becomes true damage, her physical damage actually is pretty high as well because of her attack speed boost as well as the crit damage boost itself. So if let's say you don't have Merrily built up but you have Sinbad built up, you can use Sinbad in the place of Merrily, right? Same thing for Corinne. So either of these 3 A-level light bearers work in terms of that carry slot, and Sinbad on top of being a carry also has the debuff for the team, so that's that. So 477 mil here. Okay, and then now we send in Odie. So Odie right here will be taking the shower. So this unit that is being showered will start taking damage ASAP. So we go in order: Odie, Smokey, and then the backliners. So once all these units have been harnessed, they will trigger the mega swarm ability of the boss. So that's where your team will die. But in this case, because we have both Coco and Smokey, as well as quite a decent stat buff, as well as the magical charms itself, we are able to survive the full duration. So this way, this will allow our magical damage dealers to output damage for the full 90 seconds and then proc this magic bolt from arcane spell pretty frequently. Yep, so this is my strongest team right here, with most of my supreme unit in this team. So the only Mythic Plus unit is Reina. Yeah, like I mentioned before, Reina is good enough at Mythic Plus. So if you're free to play, Mythic Plus right here. Okay, show 36-second down. So I think we should be doing 450 at the bare minimum, because my max damage is like 940 plus, I think. Should be 450 here. 450, 470. Should we have 18 seconds left? Should be able to hit it. Okay. Bam. 430. 440, 450. Okay. 460 here. I think 465. Possible? Boop. Okay, 470 here. 475. Nice. So I think this is it my best damage? Oh, it is my new best over here. So 953 mil with this damage distribution right here. So Sonya benefiting a lot from the physical debuff because she's full physical, and also she gains the stat from the 2 units, or rather she gains the stat boost from the Covenant Bond skill. So she can be a pretty decent physical carry. And for Marilee's case, between Marilee and Corrin, like I mentioned, Marilee has consistently been the higher damage dealer. So if you have a Sinbad that is as strong as your Corrin, then what you can do is you can replace Corrin with Sinbad, because Sinbad provides for the additional debuff so that your other units can hit harder, and also Sinbad does pretty decent damage as a physical attacker. So for the magical team, this is the damage distribution. Okay, so with that, let us talk about the substitutes, or what are the other units you can use in the place of these units in case you don't have them, right? So like I mentioned earlier, you can use Sinbad in the place of Corrin. So if your Sinbad is on the same tier as Corrin with regards to the tiers as well as the EX weapon, I think Sinbad would be better in most cases, right? So that's for like the physical team side of things. So another unit to consider is Vala. So the Vala thing is Vala don't actually goes into the sword form against this boss, because I think this boss is like, there's no end to the HP, so there's no 50% range where she will go into melee. I could be wrong because I haven't really tried it myself, but we could actually showcase this team right here to showcase the damage difference. So these 2 units in my account, they are slightly weaker. They don't have their EX weapon, and they don't have their tiers as strong as my Marilee and Corrin here, so they will lose a little bit of damage, but we'll showcase the damage range later to just do a simple comparison. So other units you can include for this team, right? For the physical side is Shakir. So I think, in all honesty, Kruger is better than Shakir before Endless. So for the Titan Reaver itself, I think the boss, they are considered pre-Endless. So Kruger might not be the... Shakir here might not be as good as Kruger in terms of providing for the end for the team. So you can consider Kruger if... you can consider Shakir if your Shakir is more built up than Kruger. Because Shakir with certain stats can be a pretty decent carry as well, so you can use him over here. Or let's say if you don't have the light bearer carries but you have Kruger, then you can do this as well, right? Kruger together with Shakir over here. So you can buff up Shakir to be the semi-carry. So this is one choice as well. Let me find my Kruger. Where are you, Kruger? Oh yeah, Kruger is right here. So this is another team setup. So physical by nature, as well as units with insane mobility. Personally, I think Shakir is not so good against Necrodrakon, because if he doesn't jump with his ultimate on time, he will be debuffed by the boss, and then he might not be able to transform into the wolf form subsequently because he won't gain energy. So that is one thing that you need to take note of. So you need to manage that transformation time for him. So if you are at the Supreme Plus tier with the EX weapon up, right, then you can transform pretty fast. But without the EX weapon, then she might not transform that fast, and then that's where that delay could cause him to not transform subsequently once he get debuffed enough times. So that's one thing to consider. So other physical attackers include Cisia, which you can use. Personally, Cisia has fallen off quite a bit, but let's say if she's your most developed unit, you can definitely still use her to jam in more damage. Just give it a try, no harm, right? Buff works pretty well with all the different debuffs from the team itself. And obviously, last but not least, there's another unit which I want to talk about, which is Reese. So Reese right here, is not a common unit by a lot of people, built up by a lot of people, but it's a pretty decent physical attacker that moves around. So Reese over here doesn't get debuffed by Necrodrakon skill, the Abyss Crescent over here. So this means Reese can output damage safely, right? At the same time, Reese can also provide for a debuff over here, which is pretty strong, right? Additional damage, being a carry himself, and this will provide for that additional physical oomph for your team. So we'll showcase Reese as well as probably Vala right here, just to showcase the difference in damage. And then for the second team right here, let's say if you are really new to the game and you don't have like Reina built up, you can use Bryon. But if you want to use Bryon, okay, so what does Bryon do for the team? So Bryon does for the team what Reese does for the physical team, which is providing this debuff as well as additional magical damage. So let's say if you are using Bryon, then you need to have at least one unit that can go to the front line to soak up the honeyfication process or prevent the boss from slamming the ground. So in this case, if you look at the current pool of units, some good frontliners in the event if you're using this, because if you do a Reina, you're not swapping your ally in, right? So ideally in most cases you want to use Reina even at one copy and then keep your backliners here, so you just send one unit in. But let's say if you are using Bryon, for example, your Bryon's more built up than Reina, then what you can do is use Talin. So Talin right here goes into the front line, has insane magical damage, has the ability to revive, really good stuff. So we'll showcase that. And then with regards to the other substitute against this boss, I think the likes of Ludovic works as well. That is if you are going to the more Graveborn side. Personally, I will always try to fit in the units to fulfill my factional bonus to maximize my stat gain here. But with regards to other units, you can obviously consider the looks of Cassidy as well, being a magical attacker, to fit into the magical team for this one. Okay, so that's pretty much it with regards to the two teams. So this is the damage distribution, and as you guys can see, there is a similarity in terms of pattern. So Reese definitely deals less damage compared to Vala, but that is if you have your Reese built up compared to your other light bearers that I suggested, you can use her. And then for this team over here, you can see that Lily May still hits really hard, provided the debuff from Bryon go through, and then you have Talin to stand on the front line to prevent the boss from slamming the ground itself. So that's pretty much it for this free-to-play guide. Hopefully this guide is helpful, and do remember to like and subscribe to see more from the channel. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!